Hi, I'm Liz. I'm from Timmins, Ontario, Canada, and I have just completed the FirstServe Gap Year program. I chose to do this particular program because I was trying to be mindful of the way that the program was run, and I really appreciated that FirstServe was intentional in seeking places that partnered with local ministries and partnerships that they had with local churches here in the UK, and so that was an element that I was being especially mindful of when looking at programs. My expectations coming into this year, I think, were that I wasn't expectant of anything in particular. I was very open-minded, and I was hopeful that I would allow myself to be shaped and molded into the person that God's created me to be. So this is my first time in the UK, and I began the program with a month of studying at Tilsley Bible College. This was a really helpful time, I would say. For the rest of the program, we learned about sustainable mission. We looked at the book of Acts, and we studied Paul's different missionary journeys throughout the book of Acts, which was helpful when thinking about the upcoming placement, both at Greenview and then at Chitokoloki. I really appreciated everything that I learned and everyone I met at Tilsley as well. It was a very diverse group, and it was really lovely to get to know them and to listen to different perspectives and to be willing to learn too from people who've lived lives that have been very different from mine. So at Greenview, they have a variety of activities that go on every week. And so I was able to help out with those, like Tots and the cafe and the youth fellowship. They also have a church plant that I was able to help out at for a week of art camp, which was fun during the Easter holidays. Everyone was very, very kind and extended a lot of kindness to me throughout my time there. And I also felt very convicted of serving locally and just the importance of being plugged into a church and really getting stuck in there, and how serving God often is doing ordinary things for an extraordinary God. I really enjoyed the youth fellowship, and I was able to help at a conference just this past week. It's called Contagious, and this was in the north of England. It was a really lovely week, and it was neat because we were actually learning about the early church, and we went through the book of Acts, so it was neat to start with learning about Acts at Tilsley Bible College and then finishing with Acts this past week at Contagious. So the abroad placement for me was at Chitokoloki Mission Hospital in the northwestern province in Zambia. So Chitokoloki is very remote. I really learned a lot at Chitokoloki in a lot of different ways. There's a lot that goes on at the mission station outside of the hospital as well, and so there was a lot to be done all the time. It was very busy, but I really grew in a lot of different ways at Chitokoloki. In a practical way, I learned a lot about different areas of healthcare, and I really loved it. It was just a lot of learning in that way. I was pushed beyond my comfort zone, which I think was a good thing, and the Lord was really faithful to be walking closely with me at this time And I could really tangibly see that through changing seasons, God truly remains the same. And it would take, I think, a lot longer to explain all the ways that I've changed, because even now as I reflect on my time at Chitokoloki, I just keep being reminded of different ways that I've seen God's face in the lives of the people there. Yes, I can see the ways that God has deepened my thinking, and He's taught me how to love others and how to be, I guess, relevant to people living in a very different context. And so I just learned a lot in a lot of ways. The nature of a hospital can be very heavy, and also just being in a context that's so different from the West can be shocking. And so it can be easy to lose sight of the fact that true hope and true joy can only be found in Christ. And to hear that is different than to see it and to experience it. And so I think that God really was showing me that you can find just as much joy anywhere in the world and just as much hope as well, because those things are truly found only in Christ. The very first thing I am going to do is meet my new nephew, who was born while I was away, and so that will be really exciting to meet him. So that's probably the first thing I'll do, and then I'll be working at a summer camp for a few weeks when I return. I would say that one of the takeaways from my time with FirstServe has been that it's less about the things that you do and more about the philosophy of why you're doing them. And I hope that is something that I carry with me as I head home. So the immediate future for me looks like summer camp and a canoe trip. I think that an experience like FirstServe takes a long time to process and to be reflected upon. And so I hope that I can continue to reflect upon this time and be intentional with allowing it to be a life-changing experience. I hope that I would be walking closely with the Lord as I process things, and that I would carry this experience with me and carry the lessons that I've learned with me as well, and allow it to teach me various lessons in all parts of my life going forward. Thank you, FirstServe!